Well, welcome to Polishing Profits. I almost said Polishing Podcasts. I guess either or. It's been an interesting technical morning, only taken me 20 minutes to get a pair of headsets to work here, but everyone's been patient. Ed, wave at the lovely folks, would you? Any comment for your opener? Just that's it.
Yeah, no, well, today I identify as Ed, so we'll have to take it from there.
Is that Mr. Ed?
Just Ed, that's all.
No, Wilbur, huh?
No.
No, okay. Don, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, we're missing Sharon Cowan. She's out sitting on a beach drinking Mai Tais somewhere in Florida, enjoying herself. So we'll miss her today. So we'll just have the two of us. So the beauty is not between the two beasts. She's off to the right on mine. Anyway, Don, would you please introduce yourself and what you do? Thanks.
I would love to. And I do have to say that I'm very jealous because I was just telling you guys before we started this that it's 50 degrees here. So it's a little chilly. Hi, I'm Dawn Renshaw, and I own a digital marketing social media agency, Stoney Creek Social Media, that I started 14 years ago.
And you're doing quite a bit of work in the cleaning industry, correct?
I am. One of the benefits and the reason that I even know you guys is Sharon actually was somebody that I followed on social media. I had a cleaning business for 8 years. So I know the ins and outs. I always say I know the backside and the front side because now I have a cleaning lady that I've had for, it's going on 15 years. So I understand both sides of the industry. And so, yeah, I think there's just 10 right now in the agency. We have 50 clients overall, and 10 of them are cleaning businesses.
Wow. It's a big chunk.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Dawn, are there specific platforms for the cleaning industry that are more effective than others?
What we look at is the big four. We talk about Facebook and Instagram. There's still a lot of, especially for the residential side of it, there is a ton of opportunity there. And then we also look at LinkedIn, especially for the commercial business side of it. But we also realize that people on LinkedIn also live in a house. So we try not to get so much into the special sites as far as whether this one's better or that one's better. It's not business to business, business to consumer. It's ultimately human to human. And the other one we talk about is the Google listings.
Okay.
And as of recently, we have quite a few people in the service industry that we're working with Nextdoor.
Nextdoor?
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard of that one.
It is a platform that was built a few years ago, and it's almost like neighborhoods. So like if I join a neighborhood, the people in that, you can't, like I couldn't join a neighborhood in a different city.
Okay.
I have one client that she built her entire business on Nextdoor.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful situation, particularly for people that are into breaking and entering in their neighbor's place. Find out when they're home.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I have in my neighborhood, a lot of times it's people's complaining about someone's dog barking, or there's a car that drove by slowly. But a lot of people go in there and say, hey, I'm new to the area and I need a cleaning service, and they can jump right on that.
Mm-hmm.
So this sounds like the residential side, correct?
Exactly. Yep. The commercial side, we really stick to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
So somebody wants to get into social media that's not really using it. What advice would you give them? You've been doing this for 14 years. You've been doing it with cleaning companies. So they're just looking at putting their foot into it, stepping on the gas, getting going. What would you tell them they need to know generally? And what do they need in particular as they start using, whether it's pay-per-click, Google ads, we can go down the list, Instagram. So I'll just throw that one out there and let you have at it.
When we start working with a company, a cleaning company, especially a newer company, you're really talking about, you're just trying to get eyes on your business. And the first place that we go is Facebook, because I mean, as much as we try to say otherwise, Facebook is still the big man on campus. Your aunt, your uncle, your 13-year-old niece, and your 101-year-old grandmother are all going to be on Facebook. The pay-per-click unless you have a substantial budget, it's really difficult to compete. And we do both of them. And we have most recently converted a little more budget to the Facebook side of it, because with Facebook, you get Facebook, Instagram. Even if you don't have an Instagram, you can get on the Instagram feed, Marketplace, Messenger, and WhatsApp. So really, you're going to get a pretty big bang for your buck. And when somebody's looking for a business, they're going to go to your website and they're going to look at your website. But honestly, none of us are going to put anything bad about ourselves on our website. People are going there to Facebook for the social proof. And that's where they're really going to see who you are and what you are. People want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with a logo. Unless you're McDonald's, people don't even really care about your logo other than for brand recognition.
Right, right. So on the Facebook side, I know there's lookalike audiences and all of, and I'm not the expert in this particular area, but how many people are actually looking to buy a cleaning service on Facebook?
Well, we talk about marketing with Facebook, and sometimes you're going to reach people that didn't even know they need a cleaning business. And that's one of the beauties is that suggestive marketing. I've talked about it many times in my presentations. It's like if you need, say that you need a head of lettuce and you Google it and it tells you to go to the grocery store. You're going to go in, you're going to get that head of lettuce. But when you're walking out and checking out, you're going to see those candy bars and you're going to buy one of those candy bars. And so what happens is people often don't even know they need a cleaning business or don't realize the benefit of a cleaning business until they see a post on Facebook that says, "Are you tired of spending your weekends cleaning? Let us help." Or we post tips or tricks or something saying the average person spends 6 hours a week cleaning their house. Would you rather do something more fun with that cleaning business with your time? And that's what we look at with the Facebook is, and also the people that maybe they have a cleaning business and they're not really happy with it. But so they're really not particularly shopping for a cleaning business, but we're going to sell them one. The pay-per-click is that's where you're going to get people who go into Google and say cleaning business. But even in that state is people have become skeptical of, they realize that the first person that's going to come up might not necessarily be the best. It's going to be the one with the biggest budget.
Right.
So we really have to have a good social media presence to go with that website so that when people do find you, they really understand your business, your values, your core, what you do and why you do it.
Does it work at, oh, go ahead, Ed, sorry.
I'm curious to your commercial clients, what is the relationship in terms of attention to inbound and outbound? Because I think what we're talking about here is an awful lot of inbound. What is your advice to commercial companies on the outbound?
The commercial companies, what you really are going to sell them again on if you have a clean facility, your employees are going to be healthier. You only have so much time to make that first impression. And we really talk to them about employee productivity. The interaction on a commercial account is a lot less than a residential account. But what you're really doing is you're building that trust. When you have a commercial facility and you're having a company come in after hours and clean, that dips right into the profits of your company. That's just money that a check you write every month that you might not really want to write. So that's something that you really have to preach on, the benefits that having a cleaning business and having that outlay is going to definitely be a return on investment.
Now that's on the outbound side, right? So you're pushing the message out into the community rather than saying, are you looking for a cleaning service like Google does? If I'm actively looking, I'll Google it and I'll get the answer. But otherwise, if you're into the things like Facebook, LinkedIn, and those things, you're really reaching out, telling a story, and try to get people's attention to listen, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the hardest thing about the commercial side of it is so many times they have annual contracts. And also on the commercial side of it, the people that are looking aren't often the owners of the business. So we'll have the people that are like, well, we want to target business owners. Well, the problem that is their assistant or their secretary or their virtual assistant or their wife or somebody else is looking for that. And again, with those annual contracts, it might be where you're going to reach somebody that says, okay, when our contract comes up, we're going to look to these people because I think they provide a better service or have better pricing or something has caught their attention. But yeah, it's definitely a different feel than the residential side of it.
So before we started all of this, you made a comment I found interesting. If you're going to get into the social media universe, we'll call it, you need two things. I got to look over what the thing. Oh, okay, it was time and talent.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there. I've got a cleaning company. I know I need to get out there, and you're telling me I need time and talent. Do you want to explain that? Both the pitfalls, what you need, and what you need to hire out.
I absolutely love that. Right now in the agency, 1/5 of our agency is cleaning businesses. And I love it. I formerly owned a cleaning business, and that's how Sharon and I became acquainted. And I realized as a business owner, and even me with my agency, that our time is very valuable and we're being pulled in a million different directions. So if you're going to do social media while you're being pulled in a million different directions, it's not going to work. It's not going to be pretty. You're going to the limited amount of time that you're going to spend on it is going to be wasted because you really honestly don't know what you're doing. And when talk about that's the time, and then you have the talent part of it. We spend hours a week researching Facebook and Meta and LinkedIn and Google, and just to find out what's working, what's not working. We are a very strategy driven agency. So we look at reporting on a daily basis. So with that being said, we partner with a lot of businesses, not just cleaning businesses, but we set up a file share. And while they're out on the field, or their project managers, their assistants, their whoever is out in the field, they just take pictures with their phone and they drop them in this folder and they give us 2 or 3 bullet points maybe about what's happening there. And they send it to us, and we're able to put it into a language that their audience wants to hear and post it at a time that's best to post for them. Lately, we've been doing a lot of Meet the Team Mondays because whether it's residential or commercial, it's nice for your customers to know who's coming through the door of their business when they're not there, or their house when they're not there. That was one of the key things when I was in the market for a cleaning service. Is it's like there's going to be somebody in my house when I'm not there. And now I have someone that cleans my office, and it's the same thing. They're going to be in my business when I'm not there. So you have to really know how to put that in words that is going to reassure your audience that you're doing everything possible to make sure that the person coming to your office or your business is top notch.
Well, when I see postings about, gee, I'm going to put flyers out, or what do you think about postcards? And I always ask, listen, if I send you a postcard, will you give me a key to your house?
Exactly.
What about a flyer? Wait a minute. What? I got a flyer. Now can I get the keys to your house?
Right.
And nobody will give up their keys.
Like I said, I love working with cleaning businesses because I completely understand both sides of it. And your time is very limited when you have financials to go over and strategy and people calling in sick and this supplies run out and those types of things. That's where your time is more valuable than sitting down at a computer trying to figure out what type of graphic I'm going to post and what hashtags to use and those types of things. So we really love coming in. Like I said, our core value is to go above and beyond. And whenever we're working with somebody, they definitely concur. That's what we do. But our job is to make your life as a business owner easier. Truly it is. Because I know being a business owner, you're busy. And so if we can partnership, it's not like we just take it over and you walk away. It's a partnership. And that's what whether you work with me or another agency, you have to make sure that they're willing to partner with you. Because if you're just putting up graphics, stock art, or it's just not going to work. I mean, when we post original content from a client for the Meet the Team Mondays, or it's an employee's birthday, because I mean, we all know that it's almost harder to get a good employee than it is a good account to clean for at this point. And so that's one thing that social media has also done is when we post a happy birthday to an employee or a happy anniversary, That's one thing that lets our clients know they must really care about their employees. And if they care that much about their employees, then how much are they going to care about me?
You sparked a question in my mind there on the last statement with the employees, and it's something we've been working on polishing Profits podcast. And we'll probably do a considerable amount of episodes next year on it. But how many companies are you working with that you're teaching them to market to the employee market the same way they market to the potential customer or prospect? Because
A
getting
lot.
employees is difficult and you have to be different. And you can talk about culture all day long and all this stuff. But at the end, it's just like talking and trying to get a prospect interested, raise their hand and say, I want to hear more. If you want the better people, and this is a deeper topic, but are you working with anybody that's spending some money and some time trying to get better people in consistently through the use of social media? And if so, what are maybe some tips you could give the audience on if they want to do that and start getting a good stable of backlog of people, how they
Yeah.
might approach that?
About a year and a half ago, I had a manufacturing client come to me and say, we need employees bad, and I'm willing to spend whatever it takes. It's a factory job. It's hot in the summer. It's cold in the winter. It's stinky, smelly, fiberglass. So we really had our work cut out for us. But we went to their facility, and their break room looks like a delicatessen. I mean, it was had all the food, and they were paying well. They provided paid time off. They were doing everything right, but they just couldn't get employees, and if they could, they couldn't keep them. So we were spending $40,000 a month between Google
Woo.
and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and doing videos of their employees and their facility. And their goal was to get 500 applications a month. And we found it about 40,000 with spending with ads and everything included. We were able to get them exactly what they wanted. But then we found out that of those, they were interviewing them, and they would hire out of 150, they'd hire maybe 3. And of those 3, 4 of them would leave. So he always joked about locking the doors after the first break because nobody came back from lunch. And so we worked on it. And that what we found out is employees are different than they were even 5 years ago, because the money's not as big of a factor as it used to be. People want the freedom of working when they want, when they don't want to work, which isn't convenient for anybody as an employer. And then they also want to know what that company's doing to make a difference in the community. So we, in the company I was working with, gave a ton to the community. I don't know of any company I've ever worked with that gave as much as this company did. And so we just started doing videos and photos and contacting the media, and just started posting stuff about they were given to this and they were doing that and they were doing this and they were here and there. And then they have a profit sharing luncheon once a quarter. So we were taking pictures there, and we just really focused on the employees. And we'd ask the employees, how can we make your life better? And they're like, well, sometimes for me to get to work with gas prices, it costs me so much. So they started giving out weekly gas cards in their paychecks. And that's one thing that I talked to my bookkeeper about, is it is so much less expensive to keep a good employee than it is to hire a new one. And so I always tell my bookkeeper, it's like, you let me know the most amount of money that I can pay my employees and benefits. I mean, I'm a small company, and all of my employees have free health insurance because I found that it's much less expensive to keep the talent that I have than to bring in new. So that's what you really have to, as an employer, you have to talk about those things beyond the culture. You have to talk about, what benefits do I get other than my paycheck for working here?
Oh, definitely. I'm trying not to go down a rabbit hole here with that comment, because there's a lot of directions we could go. Staying on the social media side of things, obviously that was a large company with a big budget.
Mhm.
40 grand a month may be more than some of our listeners
Sure.
bill. So what would you advise somebody, say, doing a couple million a year if they wanted to use social media to attract better talent to their company?
One thing that I've set up with quite a few of, especially my cleaning companies, because I think that the cleaning, and I also think that the food service is one thing that's really struggling to get employees. And it's to have that campaign. Like we set up, we have the Meet the Team Monday, and we set up birthdays and anniversaries. And if you have any type of off location events, like if you have a quarterly, staff meeting that you have and you have your employees there, give out prizes and take pictures and really, and I talk about when I drive down the road and I see a big huge marquee on a restaurant and it now says we're hiring this $25 an hour, full benefits. It's like, it really, as a marketer, for me to think that they have used that valuable real estate to bring in employees. I mean, years ago, that's where they had their special dinner, and that was to bring money in. And now they're advertising to spend money. So you really have to get people to understand it's like working at my company is more than just a paycheck. And you do that by taking pictures, getting employees to do testimonials, have a recruitment program where people are incentivized. Because if your company that you work for has an ad on or has a post on Facebook that says we're hiring, your staff is going to be the best one to go out and say, hey, I have a friend that needs a job. And most of the time people are of like-minded, and that's who they're friends with. So if you have a great employee, odds are they know somebody also that would be a great employee.
So listening to you, I'm thinking that it gets down, if you're going to get into the social media, whether it's to attract prospects or attract team members, employees to your organization, you've got three things to consider. Either way, it's going to cost you money.
Right.
So you're either going to have to pay someone to do it, you're going to have to take time out of your sales calls or your management time for you to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, you're going to have a tough learning curve to learn how to do it and do it right, which is going to be lost dollars as well to the company.
Right.
So if you don't know, it's advisable to bring on, and I've learned this the hard way. I got back into this 8 years ago, and I thought I could learn all this stuff, and it took me a year to figure out I was wasting more money trying to learn all this stuff than had I had an expert come in and do it.
Right.
And
Yep.
I think just as people, we fail to calculate the cost of learning something. Everybody wants to make it look easy. They want to say, you can learn this in 3 weeks. You can be a pro. They'll be rolling in the door, 10x your business. I can go on with all the things that drive me nuts listening to some of this stuff. But it really isn't that simple. So when they bring somebody on, like an agency like you, they're going to, how much time do you think you actually save a lot of your clients? The fact they don't have to do all the things we've talked about doing: content, pictures, video, audio, posting. I mean, they're going to make an investment, but they're going to make more. So what do you think you probably wind up saving people, both in time, money, time use and money, and getting a product out someone's going to pay attention to? I know that's a long question, but I was kind of talking through it. So
Oh, yeah. And I actually do some consulting when you get those businesses that they can't even afford to pay attention, let alone pay us. And so they'll pay for some consulting. And it's about 20 hours a week minimum that we save our clients. I have two content creators as well as myself, and we create about 300 pieces of content every day. I have a full-time ad SEO strategist that's all she does, 40 hours a week. And we know the ins and out of ads. We know if you could spend $500 on an ad and we could take 250 and probably get you more results, because we know the ins and outs and we know the bells and the whistles, and we really know how to come in and do what we need to get done. And when I look at, we take on a new client and it's like instantly the stress is like, oh my gosh, we're getting them the results. And when I was first into the social media business, I had a consultant that I worked with, and he said, anything that you don't love to do, hire it done. And I have an accounting degree, but do I do my own books? not a bit. I have a bookkeeper on a monthly basis and I have a CPA once a year because I don't want to keep up on it. I don't want to know all those things. I would rather use my time to do sales and management and the things that I'm good at than something that I can pay somebody else to do.
That's an excellent point. We just finished up a few episodes on delegation. Most business owners don't really know what their time's worth when they set sail on one of these ventures to learn to do this stuff and what it takes away. And if you don't know what it's worth, you don't know how somebody like your agency is going to help you. And you're going to get started sooner, faster, and you also understand the market because you've been in this market. So you have a unique positioning. You've cleaned stuff and the market, good, bad, or indifferent. So it really does pay to get some help, even if you get some consulting. I think it will, because getting results is what is key in this, and it takes time. This is, I try to explain, I'll see if you agree with it. My explanation of this is, and Ed will relate. Back in the old days, I won't quite put you that far back with Ed and I, so I'll do you that service. Anyway, you used to knock on doors, you used to have coffee with people, you used to get on the phone, and people had time to do this. That was all your marketing. That's all the customer journey, the outreach, all these things we're doing now by social media.
Right.
Would you agree that social media has pretty much taken the place of that?
Yeah, I worked with a guy who was in the glass industry, the auto glass industry. And when prior life, I was an insurance agent. And I told him, I said, when I was in my office and I would see the glass people or the water restoration people, they would pull into the office. I would tell my secretary, it's like, tell them I'm not here. I don't have time to talk to them. So that interaction now is, I'll see a post on LinkedIn, or it's my birthday and somebody will send me a happy birthday on LinkedIn, or those are the interactions. And then every now and then you'll reach out and say, hey, you want to have a quick cup of coffee? But for the most part, I don't have time to be wined and dined by some software company that wants me to run their software. And it's the same thing. People are busy. People don't have time. People want that short, this is what we do. This is why we do it. Hire us.
Perfect.
Could you talk a little bit about negative social media postings and experience? Because I see some horrifying stuff. I mean, just, it's laughable. It's just.
Oh, trust me, I deal with it every day, all day. Right now I'm dealing with a client that does mold remediation, and he had a landlord of an apartment building call him and come in and say, I want you to do a mold remediation, yada, yada, yada. My friend said, okay, well, in order to do it right, we need to tear out some of the walls. We need to do this. And the guy goes, I don't want to do all that. I just want to do the minimum. And so he did what he could do in the basement, those types of things. And well, this tenant put out a thing on there saying this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I tore out a piece of the drywall. And so it's instantly, you're like, okay, what do I do? So you have to go in. The first thing that is crucial is do not ignore it, because it's not going to go away. And when you reply to a negative review or a negative comment, you're really not replying to that person, because that person's probably already his mind set up. What you're replying to is the people that will see that after the fact. And so you're talking about somebody who comes in and they're like, okay, I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do business with this person. So it's not like, okay, a bad situation. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. So they want to see how you reacted to that. So we went in and explained, we weren't hired by you as an individual. We were hired by the person who owns the building. We were set up with specific, parameters on what we were to do and what we weren't going to be able to do. And so here is my personal phone number. Please give me a call. I would love to discuss it with you further. The first thing that you do is you explain the situation in one sentence or two. And then the next thing you do is you give them your personal cell phone number, even if it's not. You say, this is my personal cell phone number. Please call me, because you want to get that off of social media. You don't want to argue with them on social media, because I always say they're probably an idiot and they're going to beat you with experience, because this person never called my client And just my client said that he knows who this is. He tried to deal with him, and the guy didn't want to move any of his furniture. And anyway, there's always a story behind it, but you have to orchestrate it in a way that's going to speak to your potential customer. Because everyone knows there's always three sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. And so you have to paint the, and I go back to, there was a spa in Kalamazoo that had, somebody had won a prize, and their son or daughter, I can't remember now, was autistic. And so through this appointment, that the child started having a meltdown. Well, the owner came out and screamed and said, "Get out of my salon and don't ever come back." So the person went out and started an anti spa page, wound up having, within hours, having twice as many followers as the actual page. The owner, they interviewed her on TV, and she never once apologized for screaming at the child, never once even owned up to the fact that she was wrong. And within a few years, they'd gone out of business.
Mm.
A few years later, I had a friend of mine who owns a bowling alley, and said that they had an autistic child that was throwing bowling balls. So they had to ask them to leave. Well, the girl started the same thing, going on Facebook and saying how they, poor thing, was kicked out of the bowling alley. And he goes, "What do I do?" And I said, "You call them and you go on social media and say, 'I'm sorry that happened. It was a situation where my employee was worried about other patrons that could have got hit by the bowling ball. I have reached out to this family, and the family can bowl for the rest of their life for free. And if they want to come in when the bowling alley is closed, I will open the bowling alley and they can come in. I just want to make sure that everyone's safe.'"
Wow.
And that bowling alley
That's
is
great.
still in business.
That's
You
a
know,
great response. Great response.
so you really have to own it, and you really have to explain your side of it. And if you're wrong, just admit you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So you help with reputation management as well.
We do all the time. Why, I have a cleaning client that had somebody in similar situation. The previous owner of the house had hired them to come in and clean, and then the realtor went, and they had an agreement on what they were going to clean and what they weren't going to clean. Well, the realtor went in, and by their standards, it wasn't clean enough. So the realtor went on and left this negative review saying, "I went into the house and this room had dust on it and all this other stuff." Well, the realtor, or the original owner, had told them that they had talked to the new owner, and the new owner was going to demo that room. They weren't going to do anything other than take down the drapes, and they were just going to completely demo that room. So not to do it. Well, see, the realtor didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, we had to, go through the process of, in that situation, the realtor actually took the review down.
That's
the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So to wrap up, what advice would you give anybody who hasn't really gotten into this or is having issues with their social media content? Somebody says, "Look, I've been doing this. I'm not getting a return on investment. I don't know what's going on. We're not getting the clicks, the calls, whatever you want, the hits on the page." Where would you tell them to start and why? Let's kind of close up with how you could help somebody in those situations and what you do for them.
Sure. I would love that. And that's one of the things that's probably my bookkeeper, my CPA will tell you, is that I love to give away free advice.
Okay.
And it's so funny because clients will come to us, and potential clients, and they'll be like, "I have a zero budget." And I'm like, "Well, that's when we need to look at it as an investment, not an expense. And
Mhm.
right now you have zero clients coming in. And so you have zero money coming in. So I understand, but we're going to have to, sometimes we sit down with a client and say, okay, for the first 3 months, you're going to pay us a pretty limited amount. And we're going to set up the program that we use for you. You're going to be coming up with your content and your images, and you're going to be doing everything. We're just going to talk to you." And then from that point on, or say somebody comes to us and they do have a minimal budget, we're going to set up a content calendar. We're going to set up all, the channels. We're going to give them advice as far as, okay, this is the pictures that we need. We need pictures of your wrapped car. We need pictures of your employees. And we're going to set it up. And Facebook is still whether it's residential or residential or commercial cleaning. Facebook is still going to be where the bulk of your audience is. And you right at that point, you just need to reach bodies. You need to reach people, as many people as quickly as possible. We talk about that as the exposure phase. We're going to expose your business to as many people as possible. You're going to have that big net going out to as many people as possible to get those eyes on your business. So you're going to build up your story, why you do what you do, what makes you different than your competitor. I have some customers are in that multi-level marketing space where they might have a bottle of hand lotion that I can get from a million different people. Why should I buy it from you? The only thing that's different about the bottle of lotion is the person selling it. So that's why you have to really make what makes you different. Same thing with cleaning businesses. It's not some big science that you have about cleaning someone's house. Company A and company B, whether they're basically going to use the same techniques. There's not some big secret how I can make your business 10 times cleaner than the other person. So the biggest thing is your company, the owners, your employees, why you do what you do. But that's my advice. If you have to start small, start small. But if you don't start somewhere, it's not going to happen. And a lot of times we'll come into where it's like, okay, either the owner's doing it themselves or maybe their scheduler and their spare time is doing the social media. And at that point, they're just grabbing some image from Google Images and they're slapping some text on it and they're just throwing it out and hoping for the best. There's really not a strategy.
Okay.
Well, it's like, oh, no, I was going to say, that's like, you see the scene where Groucho Marx going through a contract and it's just a mess. And he says, look, this is a 5-year-old kid could figure this out. And he turned and says, go get me a 5-year-old kid. So.
It's people, I've had so many people go, Dawn, what you do is not rocket science. You just take a picture, you take some text, you throw it out there, and it's like,
easy.
It's easy.
They need to call you if they think that. Great. So we're going to have in the notes, there will be how to reach you, how to find you, to start a conversation with you. But why don't you give everybody that information here, and then we'll make sure we follow up on audio and video as we close out.
Sure. Like I said, I own the digital marketing agency, Stoney Creek Social Media, and that's my website, stoneycreeksocialmedia.com. Of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Google and all those funny places. So I love to do what I do. I have a team of 3 full-time employees that love to do what they do, and we'd love to have a chat with you.
Great. Well, we want to thank you for your time. And just as a full disclosure, we've all worked with Dawn, and we know that she does great work, quality work. Ed's worked with her. I've worked with her. Sharon works with her regularly. Mm-hmm. And I think the big plus you get here, she understands the industry. So she's not going to have to figure that side of how to reach and what message to say best. Mm-hmm. So if you're in any of those places, you've got a reputation issue, you're wondering, how can I do better at this, or how do I get started? I think I would highly recommend that you just give her a call and chat with her. I'm sure you do discovery calls like everybody does, and find out how you can start getting more people, both prospects and employees, in your door more efficiently, effectively, and no, she can't do it in 10 minutes. Is that fair?
Very fair. Yes, I do a lot of those calls, and sometimes it's just talking people off the ledge and trying to help them understand. Like I said, it's an investment and you have to invest in it wisely. And maybe I'm a little bit prejudiced, but we talked about yellow pages. We've talked about billboards. We've talked about the print media, the postcards. And I'm not saying any of that is bad. I'm just saying that it doesn't work the way it used to. And whether it was social media or any of those platforms, make sure to measure it. We have a reporting tool. All of our clients get a report on the 3rd of every month. And they can look at it and say, okay, why are you doing this? Why does this number look like this? What can I do to reach more people?
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't seen a phone book in I don't know how many years.
I know.
It occurred to me. When was the last time there was a phone book? I don't remember.
Yeah, I got to make one statement on the print media. And I'm agreeing but disagreeing. The print media only works if it leads you back to a sales page, a piece of social content, or somewhere to start getting you on the right journey. Postcards work if you do that, or send them to your website. Usually they're for sales pages and things like
Yep.
you're nodding your head. So they
Yep.
do work, but the thing is, all roads lead back to the same place.
Right.
They've got to.
Yeah, we use those a lot with the QR codes. So I thought QR codes were dead. I mean, the
Yeah.
first time they were out, it's like you had to have a QR code reader and that. But with the direct mail, we definitely make sure there's at least one QR code. When we design business cards, all business cards have a QR code.
You got to come back and talk about direct mail.
Yeah.
I'm
We
an
got to
old
talk
direct
about
mail
it.
guy.
So
Yeah.
we'll circle back for that. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you for your patience as we ran through some technical issues. I won't drag you guys in. We appreciate you. I'd like to have you come back and talk about the digital to print and how those strategies start to fit in for some of the more sophisticated people that are using
Yeah, I
social
would love
media and
it.
print.
Thank
Great.
you, Don.
I
Thank
would
you so
love
much.
it.
Thank you,
Yep.
Don.
Yep. I
Go ahead.
appreciate you guys. Take
Hang
care.
it. Okay. Thank you. And we are out.